Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Auf die Fresse, the WXW review podcast in English. Surprisingly over in Germany, but I'm in Hamilton, joined by Mike Kilby. And Mike, do you watch too much stuff last weekend?
I watched I watched a lot of Circle 6.
Oh, didn't we all?
Yeah, I watched a bit of Circle 6. I watched Bloodsport, and that was all I watched. So, so actually, no,
Yeah.
not really.
I know Arn's watched and reviewed everything. I'll plug his website, his town. I literally, Friday morning? I thought, right, I was watching the backlog, and Friday morning woke with a stinking headache. The dog wasn't great, and thought, yeah, not even going to try because it's just going to be backlog you're never going to get over. And to be honest, from the stuff I did see, or like I think I reviewed was WrestleCon for Speedball EA, Bloodsport for Timo. Watched a lot of other stuff, but I know it's the whole story of WrestleMania weekend. The Indies is apparently dying in the States, which I think is maybe a bit overdramatic, but certainly was a big lack of variety, which I guess we'll touch upon a little bit later on. For the few Europeans who are over involved, but of course, this past Sunday, Saturday, in fact, April 1st, and it was a big, what we thought was an April Fool's joke. Peach Tahani saying he'd signed a contract in wrestling, and turns out it's with WXW, or I guess more specific, their academy. He's joining Robert Dreisker and Rotation as coaches, announcing he's going to be moving to Germany in June. It'll be available for bookings, but it's a heck of a rise in 2.5 years. I mean, they said it's the Blizzard tapings, like February of 2021. He made his debut for WXW and like Wheel of Wrestling shows. And since then, he did stuff for the Academy. I think most recently after Back to Roots, when Dreisker broke his face. Rotation had surgery on his knee, so they literally had no head trainer. He filled in. I guess if that was an audition, it's been passed with flying colours, but that's quite I'd say, zero to hero, but hell of a come out of nowhere story from given where he was pre-pandemic and not even on WXW's shows at all.
Yeah, that kind of shocked me actually, because I have to admit, I don't know whether I just sort of Mandela affected it or this whole thing, but I could have sworn he was around before the pandemic, but obviously he wasn't. But yeah, no, hell of a thing to happen to him, and it's one of the few places outside of one of the big company. Well, it's the only place in Europe where you can get effectively signed to a contract. It's not a restrictive one, but I mean, it's you can become a professional in WXW, and I think he's definitely somebody who's worth putting on the payroll, so to speak. He's basically he's taken the ball and ran with it, really, hasn't he? He's not stopped at all, and he's just we say he's a star for the future. He's a star now, and it's good to have a bit of should we say stability, and we know that he's at least going to be sticking around for a good while, especially in the face of sort of the tumultuous way that the wrestling world is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously that big story. I mean, that's massively underplaying it, but big story, WWE and UFC, becoming a new core, which it's a hell of a lot more fallout, and I think, it's not something we really should be talking about, at least, the scope of this podcast, and, how little is known. I think saying by the end of the year, that's going to go into who knows how that plays in with the threatened NXT Europe. But
yeah, I think the only real fear the real thing that is possibly of any consequence to us as European fans is NXT Europe. I think is extremely. I think the likelihood of it going down, which I think was low anyway, I would say is probably even lower. I don't really see them having much interest in that.
I know there's been, and again, this is all rumour and speculation. This really rarely comes up, but I know there was chat of it. Maybe mass releases. if they are following the UFC playbook like they say they are. I know there's chat. Was it the Zach Gibson, James Drake? They were apparently asked for release. They were on NXT tapings last night to record this, so clearly that hasn't gone through yet. But going back to Peach Tahani, I'm looking through his cage match, and pre-2020 with WXW. There's a lot of Hungarian Championship Wrestling, go figure. Some Rings of Europe.
You do it, yeah.
One match he jumps out, him tagging with who's now Ben Stoff BT against the Gullis brothers for Rings of Europe. Members of AOW the Art Wrestling in Czech Republic. Match there against Lucky Kid in 2021, which was on the old WXW now. I don't know if that's floating around anywhere.
I think I
Uh,
reviewed that.
I
That
think
show.
if I remember reading that, yeah, because it
Yes.
sounds like some right up your street.
Yeah, Art of Wrestling. I definitely did review a show that from that sort of time period. So
Some stuff from Rising Sun in Italy, and very close to home, unfortunately, LDN did a run in October 2018. Same sort of names here, Ben Stoff, BT on there as well, and a lot of names who really still on LDN level. So yeah, he's least corner cage match. This is his 5th year, but he's packed a lot. In fact, now that he's of the position in WXW where they are looking, they've given him a contract to train as well as wrestle. Only way is up.
yeah, exactly. I say it's just good to have somebody sort of tied down, and if you look at the way that Dreissker, not that he was ever a weak wrestler, but the way that Dreissker improved since sort of becoming head trainer, because he can focus on it, 24 hours a day, he
Yeah,
improved by miles. So effectively, Tihani now he doesn't have to, I don't know what he was doing, but he doesn't have to work. He can just go in, he can roll around on that mat all day. He can probably go and do MMA classes. He can do everything he wants. And it's, he can focus on being the best professional wrestler he can possibly be. So, just, wonderful news. And I'm very, very excited to see where we go with this.
and again, this is not, I've not been told this for sure, but I know there was a story floating around those Blizzard tapings, I call them. Like the Hours of Hungary came through, and I think Tahani was maybe the last guy in that car coming through from Hungary. Like, because obviously you had all those big COVID restrictions, and the rules were, if you're traveling in, you can travel through, but there was no stopping. So it literally was, one big car ride from Budapest through to Oberhausen.
Yeah.
I would put that into Google Maps, but that would have been a bit of a marathon and definitely paid off for him. So, and again, on a very selfish note, Germany's a lot more close to the UK than Hungary is, so maybe those UK bookings actually start manifesting themselves.
Not that it made much of a difference, but it's a lot easier to fly from Budapest to London than it is to Düsseldorf, unfortunately. There's more flights on Wizz, but no, yeah, but no, all in all, yeah, it is a lot closer, and fingers crossed we can get a few more chance of getting him in Britain for sure.
So moving on late this year, of course, got World Tag Team Festival weekend, and we have a first name for that whole weekender. Hyan's been announced for Femme Fatales now. She's no stranger to Europe. She's done 2 mini tours of Rev Pro, summer 2021, February, March last year. No, I think it was a tag team she had with Giselle Shaw, which was the
Yes.
main thing that came up. So, a pretty, pretty strong first name for Femme Fatale, and for WXW to drop that over Mania weekend, it's not let's just get some bad news out while everyone's distracted. It's a hell of a get for them.
Yeah, she seems to be quite sort of well thought of. I think right. Well, she got over quite well with Rev Pro and her trip over here, and she appears to be getting quite well thought of that sort of outside of that. So yeah, it's a good sort of first name, uh, and if the last tournament is anything to go by, the lineup actually got stronger and stronger as it went along, didn't it?
Yeah, I
So
mean, yeah, Killer Kelly was the main, like the marquee name, of course, Masha Slamovich, Alice Singh. Yeah, and I think in fact she's starting off with this. You're probably going to get a few, I would say, local names to fill out the pack, but the fact that that Hyan is the first name, but they are really parading for Tag Festival weekend. I think that's a very promising sign.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. There's there's a lot of people who I think there's you'd like to think maybe someone like Amal is probably going to be in it this year. She was in the I think she was hastily shoehorned into the women's title match last time. Um,
Yeah.
and you'd like to maybe hope for maybe at that point maybe a return for Orshi. You'd like to hope that Kelly would possibly get back over here. And yeah, so there's a lot of options sort of going around. There's a lot of people in Britain who I think would be worth a shot at least for you think of a Sky Smithson or something like that, or a Danny Luna maybe would be an interesting sort of shout for Femme Fatales. Zoe Lucas, maybe if she came back, would be a really good one as well. But yeah, I think it's a good start. As I say, they always seem to get stronger, the Femme Fatale announcements. Anyway,
We'll keep an eye on future names for that. Of course, Tag Festival. And that's only what, like 5 months away, 5 and a bit months away. That's gonna
when you say that, it doesn't seem that long, does it?
it's gonna fall in our laps sooner rather than later. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a big slate of shows. I mean, it's only what 6, 7 weeks and we're in London for crying out loud. So if we're just getting old, mate. It's time speeding by. But gonna go to something a little bit I have no way to say Katrina up, but Mike D, he's finally got a stage for a title shot. WWE announced he's going to be main eventing, you assume, the 30th show for Marketal, challenging Shikahiro Irie on May 12th, so that's just over a month's time. Guess why we're talking about Mike D, because why wouldn't we? A few things over Mania weekend, so of course WrestleMania Sunday, Walter, now known as Gunther, had, guess what, a lot of people called a match for weekend contender, retaining the Intercontinental title. I mean, that was how close are you going to get to like an old WWE style match from Walter in a WWE ring? Just absolutely beating the tar out of Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, which I was giggling, absolutely, beaming with joy watching that on Sunday.
The quote that I bring up from this, I think was I get the exact quote, was from Snowboy, which said Walter versus Gunter's match was like from an alternate universe where WWE is good. And yeah, I think really, really, yeah, you can't really say much better than that, really, can you?
I mean, it's a kind of like, this is what we knew Gunter could do. And it's the kind of things like, if it's again, I don't watch WWE week to week. I don't have BT Sports. If this was what he was doing week to week, I'm sure a lot more people would be watching it, even just for his match men checking out. But a good blast from the past at least. Mike D had 2 matches, no results known, but I know you looking through his Instagram, and
well, yeah,
seemed to have a whale of a time there.
I've been on Mike D watch all weekend, keeping people updated. So he's had a lot of breakfast. He's been enjoying his Denny's. This past couple of days, it's after Mania weekend. He went to Disney, Universal or Disney or something like that. He was eating Krusty Burger.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, he's been having a great time, having lots of lovely breakfast, working out at Muscle Beach, doing kickboxing on Venice Beach. He had a couple of matches. I think one of them, I can't remember who they were against, but there were a handful of very short clips from them on his not on his Snapchat, on his Instagram stories. But I don't know if they've made tape. It'd be a real shame if they haven't. But I've not seen them appear anywhere. I've tried searching for them.
Yeah, just looking. So on the Voice Wrestling's scrolling, Empire Wrestling Federation, Los Angeles Wrestling. He's meant to be against Brandon Gatson.
Yeah, which was the one I think a lot of people were quite interested in.
And then that Real Deal WrestleMania shows up, meant to be against Double A Cara. I think it's worth saying neither of these have appeared even in cage match right now, which I guess for at least one of those 2 promotions, I'm not too surprised by. But yeah, I'm sure these will eventually pop up somewhere, even as like YouTube clips, even if Mike D gets throws on his social media or something like that, because I think it was maybe his first Mania weekend. I'm saying that having done zero research and fusely checking his cage match. Now, I'd be surprised if he had done a Mania weekend, just because, yeah, nothing mercs on his cage match. Just given how suddenly his profile's risen, I would be surprised if this was his last one though. Just again based on the last 6 weeks of him. But elsewhere we had Shikahiro Irie. He only had 2 matches. Beats people Mike Bailey for WrestleCon Super Show. Lost to Kevin Blackwood for Prestige Wrestling, and I think that's pretty much about it in terms of
Killer Kelly was on Bloodsport, as was Timo. Because yeah, he's still WXW, isn't he? Ilya was on Stand and Deliver, I believe, wasn't he?
Yeah, that the 5-way, one of the many scramble matches with tie weekend. But yeah, again, Mike Loku, he's not yet with WXW, but he was it Blake Christian for the WrestleCon Super Show, and I'm drawing a blank. Titus Alexander Prestige. Haven't really watched one for, but looks pretty good against Blake Christian. So there's a few names, familiar to us, through all around WXW. And hopefully, if there's a bit more variety. I think Mania's in Philadelphia next year. Maybe a few more, especially if the lay of land changes the way we expect it to.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think we're still Los Angeles. It's not really a city that has tons and tons of venues for indie wrestling, really, is it? Because there was always the fear,
distances.
yeah, and also the thing. But obviously, when Reseda obviously disappeared, that was the fear for a long while. It was like, where the hell are they going to run? Because there's not as many places you can maybe hope for. But I think in a city, maybe when Philly next year might get a few more sort of few more companies running over there. Especially you want to hope maybe WXW in the arena might be quite interesting. But yeah, it's I think it at this point was it a great investment because there wasn't that many shows on really, was there, compared to some years. Would it have been worth the flight out there if you were only going to be working one or two matches? Probably not. Whereas the New York Mania from the other year, where people were working, 4 or 5 matches over a weekend, a lot better for it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think again, I think the lack of any is a big one. I know next year there's a big question mark over the Athletic Commission.
Yeah.
No, again, my knowledge of the US is that part of the states is a bit rotten, but there is chat of it. There is going to be, some promotions based in New Jersey, I guess, just overboard, or whether it isn't an Athletic Commission. But again, we're a year out from this stuff. Nobody's even announced dates of this. So again, yeah, who knows? But we'll see where that goes, and hopefully, next 12 months we may be in a position where, who knows, maybe directly runs a show in America again. I know progress we meant to have done this year, but I know that fell through. Weirder things have happened.
Yeah, well, there's no reason why they can't, really. It's perfectly. You'd like to think that it's not as if they wouldn't fit on it. It's for me, it's less about the WXW show in particular. It's about the WXW people getting out there and working against sort of different people. So that's kind of the more interesting thing for me. But yeah, it's a lot of as I say, there's a lot of football to go between then and now.
Couple of other news bits before we cover a couple of shows. So WXW now we've been updated. I think the last time we recorded we said we were just starting with 2020 stuff. They've now got English and German stuff from the start of 2020. The only thing missing is episode 5 of the first series of Shotgun 2020, which, if you look at the results, you can probably guess why and the timing of it. There is some limited stuff from 2019, but it's like 16 Carat Gold Weekend and most 3 Ambition shows. I did notice this afternoon they've got like 33 unavailable videos, which tells me that maybe 2019 may be going to soon as this weekend. Again, that's my speculation, but the fact that they're uploading and hiding them tells me they're releasing as a dump rather than drip feed. Which, again, if you're looking for backfills, when after you've been all wrestled out last weekend, plenty up there now. There's plenty more coming up, and hopefully, maybe get some of the old school shotguns before too long.
Yeah, I'd really like that to go on there. I don't know if it will, but yeah, for sure. At least 2019, it's still good it's still very, very good at that point. Once you start getting into 18 and 17, I think now we're in business. But yeah, there's it's when you say 33 of unavailable, that sounds about right for the number of shows that year, really, doesn't it? Because it'll be 18 odd, wouldn't it? So yeah, sounds about right. So yeah, excited to see some of them again.
And just some worth keeping an eye on if you're one of us who mainly follows WXW through the WWE Network and Peacock. Nothing WXW related been on there since Back to Roots a month ago. Nothing's been announced this week, and remember last year, Carat didn't go up, so maybe slim pickings for next little while at least. I guess maybe end of April, depending on what time frame we do. But I know in the past when we've asked, it's always been a case of they have the footage, it's up to WWE to upload. So yeah, we'll see how it goes and whether there's any changes.
It's all in their hands.
Yeah. And again,
Yeah. Might be on the
directwrestlingnow.com,
UFC
that's where you
Fight
should be signing up.
Might be on the Fight Pass.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm not going to go down much about that's a potential nightmare for me. But last thing, so things we didn't mention this in the podcast because we kind of noticed this before we hit record. So WXW had, I believe, it announced like the Fight Forever, like the YouTube tapings. It was a January, March, May, July, that every other month schedule. And I've noticed, but everything Academy related disappeared. No, and it's like, well, what's going on? No, it's a big deal. Have they just removed them and shunted it elsewhere? Well, they've announced WXW they're going to be doing a dual Fight Forever taping in June. So this is going to be at the Academy in Gelsenkirchen. Just looking to pull the dates on June 18th. 2 shows in one day, and I think we're talking about maybe barbecue if whoever holds up, food and drinks in between, because like I say, 2 shows in one day is going to be a lot. Yeah, tickets I believe are on sale now through the WXW website. Yeah, it's standing room only, that kind of thing. So yeah, you're looking some extra content. I know they are doing the the Met and Mark Mondays we're doing again on the WXW YouTube. So maybe maybe retooling what they do. As things it stands, there is no Academy stuff on the docket for upcoming shows. So yeah, I'll see what they are talking about doing a Carat review this week, which
beat you.
Yeah, let me just settle on that. But otherwise, are we going to be doing stuff at live shows and pulling that? Guess we'll see when the time comes. I mean, we are in Over Traveling next weekend, which isn't slated to be taped, but yeah, just some bit interesting going from taping for YouTube and the not materialized Billy situation to now it's nothing until June at this point.
Yeah, there's the Billy thing. I don't see anything ever happening with that. Did there be anything happened with it? Did it?
Apart from the announcement, no.
No. Yeah, it's interesting one, that one, but yeah, it's, the Fight Forever shows have been quite good. They're always it's an opportunity to see a few different people on them. I think it's
Leighton Buzzard, Greedy Souls, just to name 2.
Exactly. Acts. So yeah, they're a decent watch when they are on. So it's sort of a good proving ground for maybe people to get their neck into WXW, and you kind of want to. I think they just need to. I think they're still trying to work out what they want to do with it, really, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think we said we've been doing different formats. Like they dropped it as one big show, then by matches. When we did, it's like droppings on the Met Mark Mondays. We're calling it now. I think once we know how we're going to do it. Yeah.
Do you know what they should do? Is they should put about 2 or 3 matches on a card, and then have a couple of promos and a crazy skits, and they could call it Shotgun.
I was wondering how long it's going to take for that to come up.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be like, I would say YouTube only footage, but if it's something like that, why not? I mean, it'll even adds, promo time. It doesn't have to be wacky, everyone in the hot tub like Carson Beck did.
But they do all these exclusive clips on Instagram and things like that. Just chuck them in with some of the Fight Forever matches and call it Shotgun. But never mind.
So it's been a while since we've done this, but I think we need to head over to Japan and check in with our favourite international superstar. So yeah, we're looking at Oscar Leuber's recent stuff in New Japan. Not too much. He sat out for Fantastica Mania tour because that's most of the luchadors from CMLL. Obviously, he's a big lad, so a bit of a style clash. Didn't do too much of a New Japan Cup. He was involved on the back end of a tour. Had 6 matches, lost 5 of them, but teamed with Shota Umino to beat Zack Sabre Jr. and Kosei Fujita. Because I was building up the Shota Zack Sabre Jr. match. They've had the start for the Road to Sakura Genesis tour this past week. Oscar had a singles match, losing to Shota Umino on April 1st. and he's had a couple of tag losses since, as we're doing Oscar Leuber and Yuto Nakashima's repairing. So it's going steady, but yeah, it's good to see him get a singles match with Shota. Hopefully he's told him about the virtues of Portsmouth, 229, London, all the other places where Pro Run.
Yeah, get
Just
him
saying.
get him trained until get him running ropes with Eddie Dennis.
Does the Pro even have a London training school? I
Yeah.
know the basement
they
had
do.
shut.
Yeah, they've built another one, haven't they? They've got the Rev Pro London one.
I don't know. I know it's like some it's like a council facility, for one better word. I was looking now, London School. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
London School of Wrestling. It's up by Seven Sisters, so it's near Tottenham and Enfield. Funny enough, not that one though.
yeah. That warehouse is long since consigned to the dustbin of history. Thank God. Yeah. So yeah, keeping steady, but we've got 2 shows to chat about this week. And I don't think any of these are going to be too much in depth on, but 1 week after 16 Carat Gold, WWE went back to Nanterre for the joint show of APC, Fight for Powers 3. Unlike the first show, where it was a 2-night show, it's a 1 night tuned with some other stuff in the middle. And I guess without going into match by match, big broad brushstrokes, it was fine, but this is very much the epitome of, unless you want to see, checking on folks from APC who obviously weren't doing the showcase show. This, I know it's called a nothing show, but it's more of a, oh hey, this guy looks interesting, or hey, this guy has a lot of work to do, that kind of show.
It's more of a showcase for APC than it is for WXW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you look like this year, the whole tour was won by Thiago Monteiro. I think it's the first time a true APC guy won. Tristan Archer won last year, and 2020 we don't talk about. But yeah, I mean, going through, I think Peach Tahani and Joseph Fennick Jr. I think to me was probably match for night. But I mean, I suppose a good thing in all this, apart from that APC match or the 2 title matches and the final, well, let's rephrase. All these semi-finals of the tournament were, drama for 10-minute mark, great. Get them in and out. You're not overstaying your welcome. Main event, going just under 20 hours, maybe a bit for drag, especially from a WXW perspective. Peach Shahani was maybe the one guy who had a chance from the WXW side. No offense, Norman. And the way it kind of played out was a bit.
Norman wouldn't have been a bad shout for it, actually. To be fair, because he's now back as a professional. He has to maybe get his stripes back, but then I suppose
Sing for a supper, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. Again, it's not like paying extra to watch this on WXW now, but I say if you're watching anything there, Tihani, Joseph Fennick Jr., maybe under another name from other promotions, but well worth your time. And also a bit of a break from what we looked at. I mean, you said it the other day, so it was at Rick's in France.
yeah.
I was watching that in the background work today, and Joseph Fennick Jr. was on there. It was part of like a big couple of matches angle with Charles Crowley and Popoff. It's like, Rick's had Will Ospreay and Tristan Archer at last in May.
Yeah.
Sorry, in February, March. They've got that bump. Full shows like a couple of weeks after it happened, but it's still interesting. They've managed to get a few fans just from that one match, and I'm not saying to WXW, put a show up for free, but it just shows if you got the right card and the right match for free, short-term sacrifice, but potential long-term gains.
Yeah, well, say not go too in depth on it, but I say Elix is they seem to be a very, very exciting sort of product, really. In let's face it, a very niche market really for wrestling. I think APC's kind of APC and Rix are sort of in the same part of the world. They're both Paris and surrounding area promotions, aren't they? And there's a few.
Rix tends to do like, I don't say the small towns and villages, but they don't seem to have a base. Will hit like a few, but it's not like APC where it's Nanterre and that's where they are.
Yeah.
As Rick seems to dot around a bit more, which may be to their benefit.
Yeah, Rick's seems a bit more like if we like in the sense of they run like the French equivalent of Reading and Sittingbourne, whereas Nanterre is basically in centre of Paris, really, isn't it? It's La Défense, isn't it?
I
Probably your
believe
geography of Paris isn't quite as good, but
no.
Nanterre is pretty much is basically where La Défense. So it's like in the centre of the. It'd be like running Canary Wharf in London, effectively. That's what Nanterre is like. So
maybe not quite as market, I guess, but
no, La Défense is lovely. Really nice around there. So it's not Saint Denis. So
fair enough. Maybe make plan head over one of these years for £5. I know they announced these pretty late on, but again, I think maybe a week after Carat.
Announcing them earlier.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess the big Sold WXW show going to Frankfurt. Was it on March 25th? So 2 weeks after Carat. The big 16 Carat Gold Revenge / Reel of Wrestling show. I guess main things to take away from it. So they did started a best of 5 series, Axel Tischer and Peter Tahani, which we'll go through at the end. Could culminate in London if match 5 is needed. Let's be honest, best of 5 series. You're not going to tell us states if they're not needed enough wrestling. We've all seen this before. I think throughout, it was a decent show. Take out Tischer and Tahani. I don't think there's too much to grab you. There's a lot of stuff to build up storylines and keep going. We did the Nulls X9 Street Fight, Max and Who, which I think we touched on this last time. That absolutely needs to be the last for even on the same screen as each other for a while.
For a year now, you don't need to have them. You don't need these two people to be fighting each other. It will be very frustrating if they still are fighting in a month or two, or at the next big shows. Obviously, True Colors in it. It would be very disappointing if Maggot isn't fighting. Well, we'll get onto that in a minute, but he's not. If I don't want to be at the Marktown show in May and we're still thinking about Bloody Maggot and Horror at this point.
Yeah. There's Blitz and Bruce pre-show. Tristan Archer beat Alex Duke just over
back
5
on
minutes
pre-show duty again, Tristan.
Yeah, I think the last time somebody was on pre-show, we had a big faction come out of this. Not saying Archer's gonna get his merry band of Frenchmen to run roughshod, but to keep him around, it's not like he's off the cards. So there's one to keep an eye on. Again, see what comes out of this. Lawrence Roman retained the shotgun belt over Igor Blanc. Again, decent match, but Lawrence Roman, given the whole Amboss thing of rebuild, reshape, etc. I'm gonna get sticking my DMs for butchering that catchphrase, but hey ho. But again, Amboss for their whole thing of virtuousness. He's sure winning by handfuls of tights over and over again.
Yeah, he's doing
not sticking to the creed, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's another. He doesn't need to do it though either.
Yeah. Which again, I think if we're talking maybe months, years down the line, if a Spliff Man boss comes, he's done plenty of ambitions. He's not got a great win-loss record there. But the talent is there, so it's not a case of he's doing the screw job roll-ups to win because he can't do anything else. I think it's just the way they're going, and it's the whole hypocrisy that's getting the heat here.
Yeah, exactly, and there's no better way to piss off people who maybe have. Unfortunately, the unfortunate thing about Amboss is that the Arrows, Dreisker and Roman are all very, very popular wrestlers, and you kind of do need to have them do awful things because otherwise people are going to cheer for them, because they're people that people like. So
the unfortunate thing of being, I guess, was the NWO, the cool heel stuff, which still trying to get away from in 2023, surprisingly. But move on. Ava Everett beat Amal just over 6 minutes. Amal still I think she's winless since she came back, which. Interesting storyline, considering we're doing that for Anil Marek, who's in the next match. At least he didn't take the pin in this one, but I was a hungry beat Ilya Bloom and Anil Marek 10 minutes. And again, exactly what it should have been. You got 2 Academy guys who, Ilya is on a bit of a winning run, but absolutely blitzed out by the tag champions as he should be at this point. Anil, again, luckless, no wins. And I think at this point, it was worth taking a bet who's going to get their first win first, Amal or Anil.
Well, so whoever wins, we both lose, isn't it?
Oh, it wasn't quite the Carat Night 2 main event. But yeah, decent enough. Then Baby Allison retained over Alice Inc. And I mean, I think I said in my review, there's something in Alice Inc., but I think the whole, now she's had the run, the loss and the rematch, I don't think the first introduction the introduction spell or run, whatever, went as well as it could have done. I totally understand and I agreed for the whole idea of get someone out for blue, have them win the tomb, win the title, and have that shock value. But I really think in hindsight that injury very soon after Femme Fatale and after Tagfest weekend took all the wind out of steam.
Completely crocked her, unfortunately, didn't it?
I'm not saying that she's never be in the spot again. I think if the time comes and she's getting another run, she needs to blitz her. I'm not saying 170 odd wins like Goldberg, but have an absolutely blitz through, have a squash and folk, quick wins.
Yes, they really need to put over
have her be a killer.
They need to put over that dragon kick thing she has as the thing where it ends matches.
Yeah,
you need to really put that over. Yeah, exactly. For KO's referee stoppage, you need to be doing that and give her everybody, But she needs to kind of have 6 months of that under her belt, I think, before she gets anywhere near that title again.
Or maybe another good run in Femme Fatale, but again, I think back-to-back Femme Fatale wins, maybe a bit too on the nose, but we'll see. I think right now, we'll go through this soon. We're going to be doing Allison and Ava again soon for the title. So yeah, it looks like Alice Inc. not in immediate contention. Speaking of ref stoppages, though, Axel Tischer defeated Peach Tahani, first match of our best of 5 series. Referee stoppage with Tischer pretty much aping the way he lost to Irie in the Carat final. Really good match, 17 minutes, some maybe touch on the long or heading towards the long side. But if the rest of the best of 5 series is this good, you're getting 0 complaints out of me.
Yeah, it was a really, really good, really, really strong start. And again, it's another brilliant Tischer match. We're not. I kind of need to. I need to snap out of this whole thing of it's surprising when Tischer does something really good because it feels a bit condescending. But yeah, the sort of the stoppage finish was a sort of a nice callback to, as you say, to the Carat final. Actually managed to call it properly this time.
And Dewey's calling it a 16 carat gold elbow. 16 carat gold elbow he called it when he beat Speedball of it in America. So at least it's got a name, although it may not go down so well if he's winning, Wheel of Wrestling, 52 and over traveling. He wins with a 16 carat gold elbow. Maybe we need to workshop that name a little bit.
Well, why not?
Well, I think a few years down the line, might be a bit old hat, but again,
the thing is, he'll always be 16 carat winner. So
yep.
But yeah, no, I thought this was a cracking match. Well received, I think, sort of across the park. One point in the column for Tischer, but you'd kind of always assume that Tischer would get a little bit of a lead. But yeah, no, a really, really decent match. I saw you went 3 3/4. I think that's fair. It's a good start. I'm excited to see where it carries on. You'd hope it gets better and better, and you hope, and it'd be very, very shocking if it didn't go to London as well.
Yeah, I mean, the dates, and again, we'll cover these later. So, April 22nd in Dresden is match 2, May 12th in Hamburg, match 3, a week later, Fan in Oberhausen, May 20th, match 4, and then a week after that. So, the only thing I was maybe bemoaning is, you're not getting the, he injured my leg in match 1, but he's got best part from up between match 1 and match 2. I think match 3, 4, and 5, that's absolutely the spot where you could see storyline wise, carrying injuries going in. Hell, if it's, I'm just trying to work in my head here. If it goes down to Tischer goes 2-0 up, Tahani pulls it back to 2-2 in Oberhausen, and then there's a hell of a beat down going into London. That's going to amp it up. My only concern is how many people are going to see that match before the London show. Video packages, I think that's what way you're going to have to go for that one.
Yeah, but like the thing is it's you're gonna have so what you've got what is it? You've got True Colors, which a lot of people will watch. You've got Fan as well, which a lot of people will watch. Um, We Love Wrestling as well, which a lot of people will watch. So it's kind of it's going for they're doing them on the big shows, so it's the ones that people are more likely to be watching. So
Yeah,
with
I think more of a live thing in London. Bear in mind, it's like a week between what kind of turnaround. But again, there's nothing stopping WWE from, Tahani equalise. Here's a clip for post match if we are going to go down that road.
yeah, I don't know. There's I think there's a lot of you'd like to assume you'd assume that Tisha might go 2-0 up in Dresden. So it's kind of like there's I can't see myself getting sick of it. Really, I think it's going to be
No,
good.
I mean, and even they did do something stupid and do the same match 5 times. It's a good match. I don't think anyone's going to come in the business of comparing move for move where we are, but see how that goes. Next match is in True Colors 2 weeks time, so plenty of time for that. Then we had what was meant to be 4-on-4, but ended up being a handicap match because Levine got attacked at the start for sure before the show. The world's silentest pipe attack as well. Like, he was just, was it Dan Malman was interviewing folk, the ring crew, and all of a sudden he sees Levine lying down. It's like, well, how long was he there for? Why did nobody else give a toss? Like, if it was a beating, why did nobody hear it?
If he
That
was
kind of
sitting on
thing.
the ground moaning, why did nobody hear that?
Yeah, again, it's a whole. Don't want to pick too many holes, but
Yeah,
so anyway, the match ended up being Jørn Simmons and Only Friends against Safar Amin, Norman Harris, Metahan, and Rambo. So basically, I mean, Harris didn't do that much most of the match. So basically, fantastic slash pretty good WXW 6-man tag plus Norman Harris. Jørn and Only Friends got the win, and that's building up to something with Jørn at Fan, which interesting to announce something more than a month out for that. Building up to Jørn and Norman Harris. I guess the other thing to drop in here. So this is one of those social media videos they weaved into the show. Matt Hansen got himself a title shot through the corrupt Norman Harris.
yeah, he's got the title shot with Irie, hasn't he? It's not quite sure how that's because he lost to Irie. I mean, does that qualify you for a title shot?
I think where they framed it was something agreed even before, very early on.
It was something that was maybe arranged, but maybe that was the conditions for him entering the match with his boys. Maybe
All I know is based on this and who Norman has some very dodgy form when it comes to contracts. All I'm going to say.
yeah. I mean, we don't have a sport issue yet. Later, have we? So
It's currently vacant.
yeah. So
I don't even think we haven't even gone down the quote unquote comedy route of looking for.
no, they did link. They did put the link out on Twitter the other week.
I think there's someone asking, can I
Yeah,
apply?
somebody asked them and they sent them the email. So,
I wonder where that went.
yeah.
So then main event was just speaking of who had Vanill's X9 street fight. Maggot beat Nahu in just over 24 minutes. I was down insane at ringside doing an interview before the match, so you knew he was going to get involved at some point. Probably was better than the Carat match, but again, I don't want to say I don't need to see these two again for a while, but I think like I said before, they could do just getting away from this for a while, have both guys do their own thing. I still think, you said this, and this match kind of, got me on side with this. I do think who's got a higher ceiling now than Maggot, just based on the mannerisms, especially someone to get booed. Now, I'm not saying, heaven forbid, who's the guy to beat Irie, but I can see a who having a run with maybe a shotgun belt at some point. I'm not saying, I don't mean this to sound as dismissive as it's probably going to come out. I think with Maggot, the crowd clapping along with his music, he's fallen into a groove, which isn't a bad thing, but a who has been well away from that, and it's just a different act.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
saying
think,
one's better than the other.
as I say, it's not to say that when we say that Ahura has the highest ceiling, I just think there's with Maggot, there's less of he's got a better base level of work, if that sort of makes sense. So
you know you're going to get a certain level of match out of him, but
Yeah.
with Maggott, and again, once had the big run of the belt, who hasn't really. He was suspended for a while, and he's had bit part stuff. So again, look forward to where that goes. Hopefully, a hell away from each other for the next while. But so I was Fight Forever as a Wheel of Wrestling 43-16 Carat Gold Revenge Frankfurt. Add some more stuff to the title, lads. Can probably bust the SEO of that, but it was a decent show, decent come down from Carat. But yeah, moving on to True Colors now.
Yeah, True Colors in Dresden. Usually one of the cards I always think is quite an interesting one because it's the first proper one after Carat. You usually get a good
They've
the
got
odd interesting
we've got a Wheel
newbie
of
in the
Wrestling
tournament.
live at the event hall airport. Over Trappings is pretty much a house show, but Metahan Axel Tischer, Norman House against Hector Invictus.
Go on, Hector.
And all I'm going to say is Dennis Stolnick was on those video packages.
Yeah,
Playing.
he's back on it, isn't he?
Oh, did you say Gun for post WrestleMania interviews? So no, I don't think WWE's got the guy who can beat me yet. Yeah, he's still on the shelf. It's Dennis Stolnick. Last time Mudo against Ahura, Danny Frey against Jacob Crane. See if any of those make tape for Fight Forever. Guess we'll see. Then, of course, following Saturday, True Colors 2023 at the Stromberg in Dresden. That's one for Massive Fan, isn't it? I don't know if they rebranded, but I think that's the one with the big fan in the aisle.
I believe
So
that is the
far,
one.
we've got quite a card so far, so I'm just scrolling through the way they've got them on the page. Also Hungry challenging the French Adults for tag titles. Baby Allison defending the women's title against Ava Everett. Lawrence Roman defending the shotgun belt against Maggott. So that's a rematch from Back to the Roots. Tisha Tahani match 2 in our best of 5 series. And we've got Mike D against Tristan Archer in a 16 Carat Gold first round rematch. And yeah, I mean, just those, 5 matches there? That's a pretty strong lineup just based on what we've announced there. And you've got like Bobby Guns, Michael Knight. I don't know who they're going to be taking on, but Bobby Guns and Michael Knight on the poster. So you'd expect, who helped, because you've already got the Owls and French doors tied up. I guess the only friends will whether it's somebody else brought in or whether it's just the academy lads. But on the poster, they'll be doing something at True Colors.
Exactly, yeah. So you could end up with them, say against the Ilya Bloom sort of people. You can, the French Adors maybe.
French doors got the tag title shots.
Sorry, not the French Adors. My apologies. Like Rotten Flot maybe.
Oh, good shout, yeah.
It was all sorts of people who are around on there. So.
Then next night, we're in Leipzig. It's sold out at the Hellraiser for Wheel of Wrestling Live house show. Announced I Was So Hungry against Only Friends, non-title. Ava Everett, Baby Allison, women's title match. So rematch from the night before, whether the belt's on a different woman going in, we'll see. And Fast Time Mood on his hometown against Ahura. Moving on May 12th in the 30th time Markshall in Hamburg. Announced so far is Irie against Mike D for the Unified World Wrestling title. Match 3 of Tisha against Tihani. And just going through the post, we've got Tristan Archer, Baby Allison, Maggott, LSG, I Was a Hungry, Lawrence Roman, Bobby Guns. Weirdly, no Michael Knight and Ahura. So again, the usual roster for that. Papenburg on May 13th. No matches announced yet. Guess it'll come. Got a month there. Wrestling Academy live show May 20th in Nobhausen. So this is the free shows part of Fan 2023. This was originally going to be at Gelsenkirchen, but got moved to Turbine Hall 2. And then for Fan 2020 in Oberhausen, announced Jörn Sims against Norman Harris, potentially match 4 of Tisha Tahani. And on the post, you've got Irie, Dover, Icarus, Michael Oku, Trisha Dora, LSG, Baby Allison, Maggott, Lawrence Roman, Ahura, French Doors, Tristan Archer, Bobby Guns, and many, many more. And then may as well wrap up Wheel of Wrestling London, potentially match 5 of Tisha Tahani, plus LSG, Maggott, Trisha Dora, Michael Oku, Irie, House of Hungry, and Lawrence Roman. Of course, matches to come, plenty of wrestling, plenty of belts to come, and I guess, Mike, that's pretty low key, but plenty of stuff to tantalize us as we go towards True Colors and whatever hell's going on in London for WXW in progress at the end of May.
Yeah, there's plenty to sort of keep you enthralled, really, isn't there? It's you can some quite interesting sort of potential things that could happen. I think we sort of speculated that could we maybe having a Ava Everett in America with the women's title torn, possibly.
That would not be a bad shout. I mean, I don't know. Felix has been a big fan of
Something
the
similar had been
Limitless.
done before, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been done before, but like I know Felix Kollenberg's been a big fan of Limitless and the kind of promotions that Ava Everett's around. I doubt there'd be any issue if if the match has been shared on YouTube. So it'd be interesting to see if they do go down that road, and at very least, if it did, it would give them time to, let's say, restock, but at least replenish the home roster, for a better word, when it comes to women's division.
Yeah, exactly. And say it would be I don't think it would be a. It worked. It got the shotgun title sort of when they did the David Starr in America thing a few years back. That kind of got the shotgun title on the map again a little bit. I think it was quite a successful tour when it did happen. So I think with that in mind, Ava taking it out to some of the sort of the stranger indies out there would be a really good shout.
So I guess that's all. Anything much to plug, Mike? I know, coming up to Easter weekend, plenty of games going. I think it's a reading right. Luton could have a hand in promotion this weekend. Sadly, not for Luton, though.
Well, sorry, what do you mean?
I think just one of the things I read is like if Luton lost to Millwall this weekend, Burnley could go up or something weird like that.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a very football wise, it's a very busy couple of weeks. I think everybody in that playoff zone in the championship is I think everybody's got to play everybody. That's the thing. And obviously we had the really really nice result last weekend in the M1 derby. And hopefully it's a nice one against Millwall on Friday.
Yeah, just looking over and like Millwall on Friday, Blackpool. I mean, there's an easy one. Rotherham. If you apart from that,
There's no easy games in the championship. I'm not going to get drawn
well,
into that.
statistically, I know Sunderland. To
Yeah.
my that's why I'm got as little as I do. But yeah, we've just completely fallen off the face of the earth. Like injuries just have completely killed us. But again, we only just came up last year, so I wasn't really expecting promotion. But the thing was 1 point we were like third, and now we're 12th. It's like, what could have been? But yeah, so busy Easter weekend, and I guess this will be out from. But happy birthday for Sunday, mate! And
thank you very much.
Don't get too drunk, and hopefully not repeat of what you had last year. And
I had COVID last time. It was terrible.
Well, hope you don't get frustrated with us doing rounds of Carat just on a massive delay. Anyway,
yeah, fingers crossed.
I guess that wraps up for another episode. We'll be back, I guess, towards the end of April for True Colours, and if anything else comes on, guess you can follow us at Fresse on Twitter. Mike, you're at Mike Kilby and everything.
Mike Kilby and everything.
We've got all the accounts on the podcast notes anyway, so we've got all those. The Groundhoppers guide for the old episodes of that, and guess we shall see you some point after Easter. Cheers.
Cheers.